Now obviously over the past couple of years now, we've stated that Carrie Johnson seems to have a massive influence over Boris. In fact, she might even be controlling some if not all of what he does. This has been backed up today by a Tory peer, Lord Ashcroft, who apparently is releasing a biography of Boris Johnson's wife. Now, according to the Mail, it seems she's been meddling in almost everything that's gone on in number 10. Obviously, this could just be a deflection away from what Boris Johnson's been up to, but let's be honest, many have suspected it, and there have been reports over recent months, like I said. At the end of the day, it's been clear for anyone to see that she at least has some influence on him, and at least in some of these policies, like the Net Zero one, she's definitely got some foot in there. As others have pointed out, a few years ago, Boris Johnson was a massive skeptic on the same sort of shit that he's pumping out on a daily basis. But I would say one thing is for sure is that Carrie Johnson certainly has a massive influence on him, and if this article is anything to go by, then it could well be pretty bad. He says that Boris Johnson is mesmerised and lonely, surrounded by Carrie Johnson's friends who actually used his mobile to direct events during his leadership run. Now, the last bit there really doesn't matter too much, but the fact that she seems to have a massive influence on him is obviously concerning, not just for the government itself, but for everyone's lives. Who the hell is this woman? What does she actually want? Who is she acting for and all of this? Now, another thing we know, or at least have heard about, is that apparently Carrie Johnson has started or at least taken part in a lot of the parties that Boris Johnson is now currently being ridden over the coals for. Obviously, as I've said before, I really don't care about the stupid parties or anything like that, because there's 1,000 other things that these tosspots have done which are far worse in my opinion. But it does well suggest that what we have thought, and indeed what this article actually says, is true. Carrie Johnson is sinking Boris Johnson's premiership quicker than he could have done it himself. Now, I will point out before anyone says it that I'm not sticking up for Boris Johnson, trying to make excuses for him or anything like that. As I've said, he's Prime Minister, the buck stops with him, whether he made the decision or not. But as I've said multiple times before, and indeed in this video, it seems that Carrie Johnson has a massive influence over Boris, and possibly public policy decisions. That is obviously wrong in every sense of the word. It's kind of like a few months ago when we were literally being led by the media. They would say something and Boris Johnson would literally jump on it like a bitch on heat. Now, probably one of the most damning things about all of this is one of the quotes in the book, as it apparently comes from one of the aides. It's Boris Johnson saying, "Don't do anything that's going to make her torture me when I get home. You've just got to help me. My life at home's miserable. You've got to find a way to make this bearable for me." Which obviously is pretty damning not only on Carrie Johnson, but also on Boris Johnson, though I question how true it's gonna be, and what he actually means by his life at home is miserable. Personally, I don't think he's miserable. I think he's just a cuck for Carrie Johnson and she can control him that way. This is something that the book, aides and many other people have pointed out, but then again that doesn't really surprise me, and like I said, it's not going to surprise you. I've seen the comments about 1,000 times over the past few months talking about Carrie Johnson's control over piss weak Boris. Now obviously it should also be pointed out that this is just another attack line by the media against Boris Johnson to get him removed. This is something I don't really care about because, as I've said before, whoever they put in place will be just as bad if not worse. But it is always good to be able to prove that you guys, and including myself, was right all this time, that Carrie Johnson, it seems, has a massive control over what's going on in number 10. She's got Boris Johnson under the thumb like a good little cuck, as I've said before. So if any reason would want me to get Boris Johnson out of the door at number 10, it's not going to be anything he's done, Partygate or anything like that. It's the control she has over what goes on there, and obviously the lunacy he's taken part in for the last 2 years.
We're off!